Namaskar. Now this is our next experiment, and we have to check the working of D latch, that is data latch. For that, uh, I will not be using the ready-made PCB with the flexible wires like this, which we have used for the previous experiments, but I will be using the breadboard so that we will get the idea of how to connect the circuit on the breadboard. Now if you observe the breadboard, it is the multi-purpose board to test the working of ICs. Here we can attach or we can fix the dual inline package IC. I had inserted this IC. I will check the number of the IC, but this IC is the D latch IC. It is 74373. Okay, I will fix the IC somewhere here. The pin diagram of IC is with us. It is 20 pin IC. I will focus on the important pins of the IC. Pin number 10 is the ground pin. Pin number 20 is VCC. Pin number 1 is the output enable pin. Now what is the purpose of this pin? We will discuss later on. Pin number 11 is also the enable pin. This is the output enable and this is the IC enable pin. Now it is the 8-bit data latch. Therefore, if pin number 3 is the data input, then the corresponding output is pin number 2. 5 is data input, 4 is data input, corresponding output is 5. 7 is input, 6 is output, 8 is input, 9 is output, 13 is input, 12 is output, 14 is input, 15 is output, 17 is input, 16 is output, and 18 is input, 19 is output. Now to understand the working of this, I had prepared the small part of this. Here it is the data latch, the data input either 3, 4, 7, 8, 13, 14, 17 or 18, and corresponding output is Q. Pin number 2, 5, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 19 respectively. That means if 3 is input, 2 is output, and so on. This is gate pin, that is enable pin. It is pin number 11. And this is output enable pin number 1. This is 11 and 1. I had made some connections. We are familiar with this keyboard, key panel, 8 key panels, 8 keys are there. Now initially there were the flexible wires to connect to the circuit, which we have already observed, but now I had connected the hookup wire to this. This is a wire which is known as the hookup wire, okay, which we can insert in the breadboard like this. I think you are familiar with the breadboard. The breadboarding has been done in FY itself. Now we will start the connection of the circuit. Now I will make the lower wire of the breadboard to be ground. I will prepare this to be ground. That means entire from this to this, it is working as a ground pin. I will be using the upper wire to be the VCC. Therefore now this wire will work as a VCC when I connect this to the power supply. Now I will connect the wire to the breadboard, then to the key panel and to the LED to get the status of the output to VCC. Therefore I will connect all these 3 wires to the positive supply of battery. This battery is of 5 volt. Therefore it is at logic 1. Further we can say that it is plus VCC or 5 volt or logic 1. Similarly I will connect the negative terminal which is to the breadboard, negative terminal of the key panel and the negative terminal of this LED panel. Together to the negative terminal of battery, that is at logic 0, that is low. Okay, logic 0. Okay, therefore now the VCC 1 is there, which is available on our breadboard somewhere here. 0 is available on this wire. And what I will have to do? I will have to connect the power to the IC at pin number 20. Therefore, for that I will prepare a wire. I will use this wire. See, while connecting the circuit on breadboard, we will have to take care that we will have to use the wire of very small size, as small as possible, because to avoid the connections in the form of overwired. That means if we cannot pass the wire over another wire, therefore I will have to use the connection something like this. Therefore now pin number 20 is connected to plus VCC. Similarly, I will connect the pin number 10 to the ground wire. Okay, I will prepare this type of wire and I will connect pin number 10 to ground. Now in this case, very few wires are to be connected, and therefore the wire in the form of bridge is okay, fine. But actually we will have to connect the wire which should be a flat. It should be in touch with the breadboard so that it will be the firm contact. Okay. Now what I will have to do? I will be using a switch. Say for example the lower switch with this wire to provide the gate input, that is enable input. Therefore I will connect it to pin number 11. Similarly, the second switch, I will be using it for the output enable, that is pin number 1. I will be using it here. I will write here it is the lower wire is to pin number 11, that means it is the gate. I will mention here. Then it is output enable, both are active low, therefore there are bar on it. Then first of all I will check the working of a single data latch. Therefore the third pin I will connect to pin number 3. Third switch I will connect to pin number 3, that is this is pin number 3. And to check the status of LED, I will use the LED panel, one LED of the LED panel. Say for example the rightmost LED, I will connect it to pin number 2. Okay, this is pin number 2. Okay. Now this is sufficient to test the working of a single D-latch. Now what is D-latch? How we can test the D-latch? See, when I provide the data to pin number 3, if the gate is enabled and the output enable signal is enabled, that means both are low, then the data will be available at the output as it is. When I make the output enable high, that means if it is disabled, then the data gets latched to the output. That means if I change the data, there will not be change in the output. It holds the previous data for which the output enable was low. Now we will check or we will test the working of this D-latch for the single D-latch. And then we will use the second for the testing purpose. Say for example pin number 13 and 12. I will connect the input to pin number 13 and corresponding output to pin number 12. Similarly, we can test the pair for 7, 6, 4, 5, etc. I can provide the data to all those 8 inputs, but for that we need the 10 keys, because 8 data keys and output enable and gate key. Therefore, for the time being we will avoid that. Okay, now in the next video we will check the working of this single D-latch and we will continue for the second one too. Thank you.